Good afternoon, welcome back to Wonderland Asylum. Today we're back with issue 11 of Hachette Partworks' release of Titanic, the ship, the legend. As always, starting with a look at the magazine, we have Travelling in Third Class, which kind of tells you what kind of food etc. they ate and what the pricing was for the third class passengers. Pictures of the third class cabins and dining areas. Also talks about Scotland Road, which is again mentioned in the video game I mentioned in the last episode, which was one of the corridors that were in the third class accommodation. We also have a piece on the 1943 Titanic movie that was produced by Germany as a propaganda piece. But by the time it was finished, the Titanic more represented the German war effort, which was rapidly sinking. So, yeah, and then we are on to the instructions. So, let's move on, without further ado, and look at the parts. So, in the box today, it's a bit of a bigger box, we have pieces for the first funnel. So, I'll get all these out, and we shall have a look. I think there's another couple of bits in here. Again, as always, open it from the other side, just to make sure we've got everything out. So let's have a look at what's in the tissue paper. So, in the first piece we have the kind of smaller parts and our screws. We have some bigger silver screws and we have some really, really tiny silver screws. In the next bit of paper, we have the black bits, which is the collar, the tank, I think that is, and the mounting plate for the smoke generator. And in this piece here, we have the actual funnel itself, and we have the outer plating which screws round it. I'll be honest, I'm very impressed with that. It looks quite good. Again, it's very difficult to know exactly what the colour of the Titanic's funnel would have been. I'll probably leave it as it is. It's got some quite nice riveting detail on it. So yeah, overall I'm quite impressed with the way the funnel pieces look. So now we've got them all together, let's see what we're going to be doing. Okay, so the first thing we need is the filter, they call it. It looks very similar to what you get in the end of a cigarette, to be honest with you. Not that I would know, I've never smoked, but yeah, looks very similar. Kind of spongy, cardboardy material. And we need the spring, which looks like this. Now, in my pack, I had a spare one. I'm not sure if everyone got that. It's not mentioned in the parts inventory. So what we're doing is stabbing this directly through the middle. Now, what you don't want to do is bend it. Ah, there we go. That's going in, no problem at all. Just like that. And what that will do essentially is it will put some downward force onto the filter, forcing it into the water that will go in the tank later, not just now. And then we're taking the tank piece itself and pushing this spring first down in there, and as you see it's spring loaded. Perfect. Now the next thing we need is the smoke generator that was supplied with stage 3, if you remember that. And what we're going to do is turn it that way so the bit with the solder joint is facing up, and we're taking this collar piece, and it actually has an indent in it, so it tells you where to put the wire. So you put that in there like that, and the wires trail out through there. And we're then taking this piece here, and again it doesn't matter which way round, but all we're going to do is put that face down top of this, making sure that the smoke generator stays in where it should. So what might be worth doing is doing it the other way around, putting it in like this. These two pins should line up with the screw holes to pin everything together, and then we're screwing those two bits in with the bigger silver screws that came in this issue. So I'll get the first one in. That's one. And again, making sure the wires are still through their little trough, which they are. Put in silver screw number 2. And tighten them down. But again, don't over tighten them because they're plastic, going into plastic. So there we go. That's what that looks like. Okie dokie. So now, what are we going to be doing next? Okay, so next up, what we need is the filter section that we made earlier, and the piece we've just made just now, which is the top of the funnel. And essentially all we're doing is putting the two of them together. Now this should be able to come off of there, because in essence, again, that is what the spring-loaded part pushes the sponge up against, is that heating element in there. But when you're going to be refilling the mechanism, you're going to be pulling this piece in and out. So it does advise you do that a few times to make sure you can separate it. Okay, so the next stage, we're going to be assembling the outside of the funnel. So I'll put this to one side, get the bits I need, and I'll be back in just a sec. Okay, so what we're doing now is attaching the metal sleeve to the plastic funnel piece. Easy, right? Wrong. It goes over like that, and then you need to pinch it together to get the screws to fit. Now, the big issue with that is there are two screw holes at the back that need to line up, and there are all these wee screw holes at the front that need to line up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up one side of the front screws and put the screws in, then I'm going to fold the rest round and manipulate it so the rest of them fit too. Because that is, I believe, going to be the easiest way. So that's the first one in the front. And the thing is, they don't bite all that tightly, or they don't feel as though they're biting all that tightly, but they are absolutely tiny. Now, I'm reliably informed that if you're using the screwdriver that was supplied in, was it issue 1 that Hachette gave us the screwdriver in, it will not fit. The screws are too wee. They fit perfectly on my precision screwdriver, but if you're using the one Hachette supplied, not going to work. Now, if you got the precision screwdriver kit that came with a subscription, then one of these smaller screwdrivers will fit. If not, this one is a PHOO screwdriver head that I'm using. It works with all the other screws that we have, and it also works with these smaller ones. So just a little tip there. Again, just screwing these little screws in, and then, as I say, all I'm going to do is fold the other side round, and that should make sure that these screws on the back line up too. I say should. Yeah, it does. Perfect. So getting the first side secured in is the easiest way. I did think it was going to be. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll put the rest of these 3 screws in, and I'll come back in just a second. I do have another hint to show you. Okay, so that's one for the blooper reel, because you're not actually meant to fill in all of these holes. You're only meant to fill in these ones. The bottom, the second one down in the middle, and the second one down from the top. I'd put one in the top hole. You're not meant to. Not at this stage anyway. So yeah, don't do what I did. And now what I'm going to do is manipulate the plate round until I see the screw holes at the back line up like that. And then what I'm going to do is take a cocktail stick and stick it in the hole. Basically to make sure the plate can't move too much while I screw my screws in on the other side. Now this is the hardest part, is keeping the pressure on the other side until you've got at least the first screw in. Now those cocktail sticks will help a lot, but they won't do it at all for you. Okay, so again, just keeping the pressure on. Same with the bottom screw, and you'll notice that it'll draw the funnel sleeve in to the right shape, because previously it wasn't quite the right shape, because obviously it still had to be folded and manipulated. And then finally the middle screw. Now hopefully they are strong enough that they will keep the funnel sleeve in place when I pull these cocktail sticks out. And yes, they certainly seem to have. Perfect. Okie dokie. So next what we need is the top section of the funnel and the kind of spider piece, which is all the outriggers on it. It just slides down along these two troughs there, like that. And then what we do is attach it upside down, turn it upside down, and attach it to the funnel like that. So that is your first funnel. And now finally what we're doing is bringing over the tank piece from earlier, and with the cord pointing towards the front of the funnel, we're going to try and line this plug up with that square hole at the bottom as we feed this down. Now that for me is going to be the most challenging thing about this model, is every time that you want to refill this tank, you're going to need to guide this cable down through that bottom hole. Now, I don't know how doable that's going to be on a regular basis, which is a bit disappointing given it's a fairly big part of the selling point from the model, because I'm now having to reach up through here with tweezers to pull that cable through the bottom, just like that, and then keep a hold of it, which I'm not able to do. I don't like this design at all, actually, being perfectly honest about it, because I now need to guide the whole tank assembly down as I pull the cable through, make sure it all lines up like that. Now that's all well and good, but when this is all attached to the model and this plugs into a board at the bottom, how am I going to get that to unplug? And I'm going to have to do that for all three funnels. But that's a bridge I suppose we'll cross to when we come to it. And your final section is this grill piece here, and it says to clip it on but don't glue it. So it slips onto the 4 clips there, and that is your funnel. And that is all there is to do in stage 11. But I must be honest, I'm quite impressed with that. It looks quite good. Alrighty-roo. What's coming up in issue 12? Well, issue 12 we're starting on the forward well deck. So, yeah, another piece of decking. And that is the last stage for the next 3 weeks, nearly, I'm sad to say. But yep, that is what we made. That gives you a sense of scale. That, as I say, I'm quite impressed with that, because obviously there'll be details that go over the top of there that'll hide the screws. It wasn't as difficult as some people made it out to be. The only bit I think we're going to have issues with is to fill the tank, you need to pull it out through the top of the funnel. That's not the easiest anyway, but then you're going to have to guide it back through with that cable. And I don't see how it's going to work, but okay. But that's how it looks just now. That's all for stage 11. So again, any comments, complaints, criticisms? If that trick with the cocktail sticks is helpful, as I say, a lot of people had trouble getting the skin on. The way I did it was to screw one side on, fold it round, line up these 2 screw holes at the back, plug them with a cocktail stick, and then fold it round and screw the remaining side in. I found that worked really well for me. I had no issues at all. But yeah, thanks as always for watching. Comments, complaints, criticisms, go in the comments section. If you enjoyed it, leave me a like, and if you would like to see future episodes, because I'm going to fulfill this model to completion, and I'm shortly going to be reviewing the Bismarck as well. So, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you for stage 12.